Hello, I'm Ted Bowman, and I'm glad to join with the Downtown Coalition for Grief Support to share a few words with you in the midst of this COVID crisis and in the midst also of your grieving experience. I want to talk with you just a bit about thresholds and the grieving process. When losses occur, we cross a threshold. Many of you know that quite well. A person that you loved and was part of your life has died and is now not with you in the same way. You may have continuing bonds. You may remember them. There may even be the experiences of their voice and smell around your apartment or house. But there's a threshold that we cross. A local colleague of mine calls this the borderlands, when we move from one world to another, from one space to another. People back before us used to call it a thin place, especially in describing the move from living to dying and to death. Whatever it's called, it's a threshold. Now, we know thresholds are a part of our lives. When one of us moves from outside to inside, we cross a threshold. Some of you have moved from a working life to a retired life. There's a threshold. And recently, you and I, our neighbors, our city, our state, even the world, has crossed a threshold, experiencing what we now call the COVID-19. I don't know about you, but my world is radically different than it was even a few weeks ago. An example is that I'm talking with you by video and not in person as I prefer. Your world and mine has changed as we try to protect ourselves, each other, and our nation and world from this virus. We call it social distancing, which doesn't mean personal distancing. And I hope even by this video that we can be a bit personal with one another. I won't put on my mask, even though we're advised to use those, but you are not here with me right now. The now personal account of grief by C.S. Lewis in his book, A Grief Observed, contains some words that describe both his grieving process and perhaps yours, and speaks to me also about the COVID process. He says, I thought I could describe a state, make a map of sorrow. Sorrow, however, turns out not to be a state, but a process. It is not a map or a history. There's something new to be chronicled every day. Sounds familiar to me about COVID-19, and for many of us about our own grieving. Another person, a grieving widow in this case, Sheryl Sandberg, wrote, "Let me not die while I'm still alive. Let me not die while I'm still alive." Meaning that when tragedy occurs, it presents a choice. You can give in to the void, the emptiness that fills your heart, your lungs, constricts your ability to think or even breathe, or you can try to find meaning and action steps. And so I want both to honor your grieving process and whatever might be your anxiousness about COVID-19 and talk about some action steps. Here are some thoughts and suggestions. First, some from an English colleague. Acknowledge your anxiety. Acknowledge your grieving. The current crisis is an ambiguous one. We have lack of clarity, which leads to anxiety. We don't know what the next day news will bring. We don't know when this will end. That can create anxiety. Some of us wonder the same about our grieving. How long? I thought I would be over this by now. And so I want to start by simply saying that part of what we need to do is to name things that cause us some anxiousness and some loss. Related to this, I would suggest to you, and my English colleague does as well, and it may sound a bit counterintuitive, would urge you to schedule your worrying. Schedule worrying. Seems counterintuitive, but setting limits can help or reframe our worrying. Here's a Mary Oliver poem to consider. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Will I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and, well, I'm hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I getting rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing and gave it up, and took my old body and went out this morning and sang. How's that for a way of reframing worrying? Would also urge that you set some quarantine or grieving rituals. What I mean by that is that we've been told it's good in times like these to have specific activities at specific times, a regular meal schedule, a regular sleep schedule, but then also to put other things on your calendar, your internal calendar or your physical calendar, of what are you going to do today. I know that I do better on days like these when I have a bit of a to-do list, some things that I want to do. In fact, after being with you in this video, I hope to get outside today, take a walk, perhaps even a run, and enjoy Mother Nature. So get yourself moving, and then practice gifts of altruism, both to yourself and to people around you, perhaps even to some of the creatures, dogs or cats, that are part of your life. So, active steps. May I say to you also, be aware of what is not canceled because of the coronavirus, including, as I just said, getting outdoors, not canceled. Music, not canceled. Special time with friends or family, not canceled, even if you have to do it by technology, long distance. Reading, not canceled. Laughing, not canceled. Hope, not canceled. Let's embrace what we have. And whatever your beliefs are, lean on them, the best of those these days, and know that nothing separates you from God's love. It's a mystery, but that we can be surrounded even as we deal with living and dying and death. What I'm describing are steps or directions for active hope, not passive hope. Hope is not just a noun or an adjective, but to be fully experienced, it needs to be an active verb. We need to activate it and make it a part of our daily lives. Let me close with another poem by Barbara Crooker in this case, and she talks about active hope. The future will come, I tell myself. It might not be pretty with its aches and sags, the body's sure decline, and a virus. So I hold on to the radiant morning. The sun, as it turns the dial of the lake up to glitter, polishes the grass till it shines, like a traffic light signaling go. Blackbirds flash in and out of the oaks, saw the air into ribbons that weave with each gust of the wind. Even the tea in my cup shines pure amber. And then there's the miraculous mixture of digital data, electrons, photons, that later this evening will connect me to you. Barbara Crooker is advocating for active hope. My friends, whatever is your state, I hope that you can hold both your grief, your anxiousness, and your hope, and oscillate back and forth between them. Don't let one dominate, but try to be realistic with what's happening in your life. May God bless you.